Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickers, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4. Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Pastor Lee Johnson from the Bear Valley Community Church in Colleyville. Thank you for coming out today. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Jefferson, after touring as a celebrity through Italy and England and living in the splendor of France under Louis XVI, said that the riches of those countries do not compare with the gift of freedom in America. Therefore, Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for our independence, for our individual liberties of speech and religion, for the beauty of the world around us. And let us always live in a heart of gratitude, knowing that we are among the most blessed people on earth. Let us never forget the responsibilities that come with so much blessing. And let us always be on the lookout for those who are not well served, missing out on the gifts that we ourselves enjoy. Maybe it's part of why we are here, to enrich their lives. This we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Pastor, for coming out today. GK.
Good morning.
Agenda announcements.
Good morning. Members of the court, we have two announcements relating to today's agenda. The first is under the County Administrator section, item 8A1. We're going to take that particular item up after closed session. Also, members of the court, under Human Resources, item 8G2. There is a revised court communication as it relates to that particular item. Ms. Glenn will denote the changes in that communication when they make their presentation this morning. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of March the 8th.
Move for approval of the minute.
Second. We have motions and seconds, so y'all just do whatever you want to do. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have one proclamation today, and it is for National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Miss Rita is here. Come on down, and I think you have some folks with you, so just bring them with you.
Oh my gosh.
We got a bunch of folks.
Oh my goodness. Welcome.
So I will start off by reading the proclamation into the record, and then we'll kind of go from there. Whereas National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month is a national campaign to raise awareness about developmental disabilities, and whereas intellectual and developmental disabilities affect more than 15 million American children and adults, as well as their families, including 100,000 in Tarrant County. And whereas individuals with developmental disabilities, their families, friends, neighbors, and co-workers encourage everyone to focus on the abilities of all people. And whereas the most effective way to increase this awareness is through everyone's active participation in community activities and the openness to learn and acknowledge each individual's contribution. And whereas opportunities for citizens with developmental disabilities to function as independently and productively as possible must be fostered in our community. And whereas it is important that individuals with disabilities continue to have opportunities to live productive and meaningful lives with employment, a place to call home, as well as an engaged community of family and friends in Tarrant County. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim March as National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in Tarrant County. And further, we urge the Tarrant County residents to give their full support to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, by providing the encouragement and opportunities they need to lead productive lives and to achieve their full potential. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 15th day of March, 2016. I'll move its approval.
Second.
Thank you.
Please vote. Wait a minute. Motion passes unanimously. Let me bring this thing down here. We're gonna get a picture, and then you can talk.
You know I like to talk.
I know that. Okay, who all wants in the picture? Y'all are on that picture. That sounds like a great idea. Okay, everybody get in here.
Bringing up the rear.
Come on. Turn right around here and you'll be in front of the line. Come on, bring her right in here. Okay. All right. Do we have anybody? Wait a minute, we got other people back there. Come on, Sheila, you don't have to stand right back there. One more, okay, everybody look at Ann. One more. Thank y'all. Okay, the second one. Good to see you. I don't know what you people will think back out, so you, if you were.
Oh, look at her.
She knows what she's doing.
This isn't my first rodeo. There we go. Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. And thank you for all of our supporters that have come to create awareness. Awareness is the first step. And it's a pleasure to take this proclamation and proudly display it there at our office. I have brought some pins. Again, this is a national awareness campaign. So I brought some pins for the Commissioners Court to proudly wear, as well as some pens. To proudly write with. Okay, so I'd like to
Pens and pens. Thank you for the work that
Thank you,
all
Rita.
of you
It's good to
do
see you
for
again.
the developmentally disabled in our community.
I got it. Thanks, Ruth. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
thank you very much.
Commissioner Brooks, I believe you have a proclamation.
I do. It's for ratification only. It will be presented on Sunday morning. It is to recognize 25 years of service in this community by one of God's most faithful and proficient messengers, the Reverend W. Timothy Glenn, the pastor of Mount Olive Baptist Church in Fort Worth. It'll be presented. I move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Court members, you have before you our consent agenda.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion, a second to approve the consent agenda. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius. Okay, I'm sorry, that's right. Looks like Mr. Maxwell.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Commissioners. We are requesting that the Commissioners Court release the depository collateral that is shown in the attachment.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Craig. Ms. Glenn. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Glenn.
We have several items for the court this morning. The first item, we're asking the court to receive and file the personal agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The second item, we're asking the court to approve a waiver of terminal benefits for the 96th District Court. Judge Wallace is requesting a waiver of 400 vacation hours effective April 1st. And the 400 hours was the item that was left out of the original communique. So that's just to clarify, it's a request for 400 vacation hours. The net cost of the waiver we're estimating to be approximately $13,000, and that would be an impact to the general fund.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The next item is another waiver for your consideration. It's from the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Anderson is requesting a waiver of 320 vacation hours, also effective April 1st. This is for a lieutenant's vacancy. We're estimating net savings for this request to be approximately $3,700, and again, that's to the general fund.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our last item, again, is a waiver, this time from the district clerk's office. The district clerk is requesting a waiver of 400 vacation hours, also effective April 1st. We're estimating that the net cost to the general fund will be a little bit more than $2,600.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Beecham.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I know it's hard to believe that Arkansas won't be in the tournament. However, my home team, University of Arkansas Little Rock Fighting Trojans, Sun Belt champs, will dance for a while.
I would guess for about, what are the halves? They play 40 minutes?
Till the first break.
And I'm sorry that Kentucky defeated the Aggies. It wasn't my intent, but it just happened. I was going to, but.
We do have 4 items for your consideration this morning. Our first item is a bid award recommendation for bid 2016-076. It's our annual contract for windshield and auto glass replacement repairs. Recommendation be to award a per enterprise basis and discount for items not listed in the document. Awarding to the low bidder, selecting as our primary vendor Apple Glass and Mirror, secondary vendor Fort Worth Auto Glass Center, and the alternate vendor A1 Auto Glass.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 2 is also a bid award recommendation for bid 2016-083. This is our annual contract for time, date stamp machine service and supplies. Recommendation be to award a pre-enterprise basis, awarding to the low bidder, Associated Time Instruments Company Incorporated.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 3 is an item in regards to RFP 2015-060, which we brought to court on April 21, 2015, through Court Order 119934. This was for the IT staff augmentation RFP. After discussions with the Criminal District Attorney's Office, there's an ongoing need for those services. We have another RFP that's being evaluated at present time. We're asking for a temporary exemption from the competitive requirements under 2620247, which allows those existing employees to continue working for IT until the completion of the existing projects we're working on right now are completed, which will be in October. Involves 8 employees total.
These employees are currently contract employees?
Under previous vendors, yes, sir.
And we will continue the contracts or continue relationships with the employees?
Contract with the employees and through October 3rd. As I understand, some of them roll off in June. The bulk, October 3rd. This was the first time we did this, ever done this IT augmentation services contract. There will be verbiage, there is verbiage in the current RFP that's evaluated to allow us not to have to come back to you again and ask for a temporary exemption.
I'll move approval.
I'll second, but I'm a little confused.
So am I.
So,
Jack, let me ask you a question. Are we simply continuing the contracts, these people are going to continue to work for their current employers until these tasks?
To completion of the project, yes, sir.
I think that was the question Commissioner Brooks said.
It was.
okay, and the completion date is projected to be October 2016?
October 3rd for some of them, and some of them will roll off in June, as I understand.
Okay,
Total of 8 employees.
okay.
Any other questions? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our last item is a bid award recommendation for bid 2016-017, our annual contract for law enforcement uniforms, which we brought to the court last week for your consideration. There were some concerns from one of the bidders, Impact Uniforms. We did quite a bit of research during this last week to come up with the clarity that the vendor requested. There were concerns concerning errors, mathematical errors. The bid form had been changed, missing category, pricing in one category, and that their products didn't meet specifications. I can tell you that we did conduct a wear test in 2005. All the large entities that Ms. Boulware referenced did not conduct that wear test. That's kind of a big thing. This was a silent wear test in that 7 employees were volunteers from the sheriff's office. They worked different shifts. They had different days off. None of the employees realized which uniforms that they were wearing. We tested Obeco, Blauer, and Fetchheimer uniforms. At the end of the 5-month wear test, they were commercially laundered, personally laundered, and laundered at our Sheriff's Department laundry facility. Based on their comments, our own visual inspection after that 5-month wear testing, it was determined that the best uniform for Tarrant County would be the Blauer uniform. Blauer, as well as Obeco and Fetchheimer, all make lesser quality uniforms. This is certainly not the Cadillac, but it's a darn good uniform in that they don't have to be replaced 2 and 3 times during the life of the uniform. The Sheriff's Department has 1,324 uniformed officers, something the Impact did not consider. If we were to change uniforms, it would cost us over $1 million to re-uniform our uniform staff, Sheriff's Department employees. There's an inventory that the Sheriff's Department keeps. They can actually put uniforms on an employee on a temporary basis to have that employee working on their very first, their start date. This is the first time in 10 years that we've had a vendor, besides a Blauer distributor, bid on these uniforms. When the recommendation that we brought to the court last week, there were actually 2 Blauer distributors that responded with the bids. One asked to withdraw their bid based on mathematical errors that they made. Probably a point that needs to be made that Impact also was a Blauer distributor at one point in time. They were actually removed from the Blauer family for, as I understand, territorial sales infringements. They've stated that they've been in business for 17 years. Our records indicate from the research that we did that they only have sold Fetchheimer for 2 years and uniforms, as we can determine, for a period of 6 years. Probably another factor that should be considered. We asked for references of like-sized entities. That didn't happen. The references, 3 of the 5 that I remember that they submitted, one was from the City of White Settlement, the other was from Parker County, and the other was from a volunteer fire department. The form was altered. It's hard to evaluate and apples to apples comparison when the forms are altered. There were some specifications in regards to safety requirements, some reflective striping that we feel like are important, something that the sheriff wanted and something we purchased for the last 10 years in those Blower uniforms. I would make the recommendation again this morning that we award to the vendor meeting specifications and deem Impact uniforms non-responsive for failing to meet the product specifications, including safety requirements, not providing all the pricing on the items, and for altering the bid form. I think we've conducted a fair process. We conducted a pre-bid, hosted a pre-bid meeting prior to the award hitting the street. There were no questions at all from Impact concerning the specifications. I would certainly think at that point in time that would be the appropriate moment to question the specifications. Another comment that was made from Impact, and I want to specifically use the terminology that Ms. Boulware did, the specification should have been written as brand exclusive. State law does not allow a brand exclusive specification, a brand name, whether it's Blower, Fetchheimer, Caterpillar, Ford, can be used for descriptive purposes only. It must say or equal, which is what every contract and bid that we put on the street in the last 20 years have reflected. That would be my recommendation this morning.
We have a couple of audience participations that I think we'll call before we determine whether we're going to make a motion or not. Sarah, I think it's Perdon. Please properly pronounce your name and your address, and then whatever comments that you have.
My husband always says it's Purdon. We're not from France. My name's Sarah Purdon. My address is 104 Harvest Ridge Cove in Rockwall, Texas. And I'd like to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak this morning. I'm speaking on behalf of Blower Manufacturing, who is the manufacturer of the uniforms worn by Tarrant County deputies since 2002. I've been the representative for Blower for the last 17 years, and I was in attendance at court last Tuesday. And my purpose in speaking this morning is to address some of the comments made last week by Impact in the bid protest for the Sheriff's Department uniforms. Ms. Boulware mentioned in the bid protest that the Flying Cross brand is utilized by a few other entities in Texas. While that's true, many of the other entities were only awarded to a distributor of Flying Cross based on low bid. Several of the agencies specified Blower products, wanted Blower products, and their purchasing departments accepted an inferior product based on price alone. It's commendable that the purchasing department at Tarrant County is striving to uphold the specification of the quality products that have been worn by the sheriff's deputies for 14 years. Other large agencies in Texas who have wear-tested Blower subsequently specified Blower and had purchasing agents uphold the quality of the Blower specifications in bid processes include the Texas Department of Public Safety, who also switched from Flying Cross to Blower. And you'll hear Flying Cross and Fetchheimer, so just to clarify to the court, Flying Cross is a brand that's made by Fetchheimer, so it's synonymous. The Fort Worth Fire Department, the Dallas Fire Department, the Austin Police Department, Travis County Sheriff's Office, San Antonio Police Department, who all three also switched from Flying Cross to Blower, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and many others. In just the DFW Metroplex alone, the following police departments are currently wearing Blower uniforms: Fort Worth, Arlington, Carrollton, Plano, Garland, Irving, Frisco, Grand Prairie, City Center, which is Bath Security, McKinney, DFW Airport Police, Grapevine, Richland Hills, North Richland Hills, Mesquite, Louisville, and those are the larger agencies. That doesn't include the smaller suburbs. Blower products are rarely the least expensive when you compare unit price to unit price with our competitors. The quality of Blauer products is revealed through longevity of wear, appearance before and after cleaning, durability of construction, fabrics and components, which at the end of the day makes Blauer products the absolute best value in the public safety industry. Blauer products not only look good, they were built to last. If Blauer built their product below specification at a similar quality level to Flying Cross product, our cost would be much lower as well. But at what price to the end user and value? It was further mentioned in the last court session that Impact's bid was rejected based on minor manufacturing processes. She stated, quote, "Such processes include differences in the stitch pattern in the cuff to their material of the zipper and the pants." She further went on to say, "These small differences in no way affect the performance of our first responders." Ms. Boulware is showing her lack of knowledge in the uniform industry by making such statements. All Blauer Super shirts, which is what Jack was referring to, it's the primary shirt worn by Tarrant County deputies. It has reflective safety striping, heat sealed on the underside of the sleeve, cuff on the short sleeve, underneath of the end of the sleeve on the long sleeve, the back of the collar, and underneath both pocket flaps, with 3M Scotchlite safety material. This provides 360 degrees of reflective visibility, where our competitor shirts have none. Another significant visibility and safety feature is on Blauer rainwear, where there's a black stripe behind the reflective Scotchlite stripe for daytime visibility. A significant number of first responders are injured or killed by moving vehicles due to a lack of visibility. Even small pieces of reflective material can make all the difference. I suggest you test this at night behind the wheel of a car, and a good example of this is reflective material on modern running gear and running shoes. In addition to the multitude of safety features in Blauer products, all Blauer products are constructed in a way that makes the garments wear longer and hold a sharp, tailored appearance for the life of the garment. Just because Flying Cross has been making uniforms since the Civil War doesn't mean that they make their uniforms better. In fact, the parent company of the Flying Cross brand has changed hands several times since the Civil War, and Blauer's been in business for 80 years, owned and operated by the Blauer family, and is now being operated by the third and fourth generations. Blauer uniforms are made in our own factories, not contractors who are paid to produce the cheapest way possible. The detailed wear test conducted by the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office when they went into Blauer reveals this very fact. The Sheriff's Office decided not to do a wear test this time because they've been satisfied with the performance of their uniforms and had no need to look elsewhere. Officer safety goes hand in hand with the uniform appearance. The fit of the uniform, the color match, both have an impact of the officer's ability to command authority. It's a fact that a command presence in a tense situation can prevent a bad situation from escalating. I'm almost finished. Ms. Boulware asked if failure in the product caused purchasing to reject the Flying Cross brand. While the Flying Cross product did in fact fail during the wear test conducted in 2005, the issue now is that Tarrant County published uniform specifications that the Flying Cross brand simply can't meet, or doesn't meet. I brought a copy of the detailed product comparison compiled by the Tarrant County Purchasing Office that was a part of the agenda items from last week for the court's reference. And it's very detailed, and you can see that almost every item, there's 9 or 10 things, categories on how the product doesn't meet specification. After all, what is the point of creating and publishing specifications if you're going to allow companies just to provide the cheapest product? Make all parties meet or exceed the specification if you're going to make it, or else you're making it unfair to the vendor that does meet the specification as published. Blauer has products with fewer features and less construction, but based on the department's high standards and specifications as published, Blauer distributors who responded to this request for bid the quality that was requested by the county. Thank you for your time, and please let me know if you have any questions.
All of the companies that all the different county governments or cities or whatever, are they all on the same, are they off of the state, are they buying off of the state bid, or are they buying each one, or doing our own individual RFPs?
Many of those agencies are piggybacking off of this contract, and then we did have an issue
So
with.
off of our contract?
Off of your contract, yes, sir.
Okay.
And then there's also a cooperative that the city of Frisco put out, and a lot of the North Dallas agencies have piggybacked off of that one.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Next is Kim Sylvester. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kim Sylvester. My address is 1615 Harvest Glen, Allen, Texas 75002. Good morning, Commissioners of the Court, and thank you for allowing me to address the Court today. On March 8th, I was also in attendance of the Court and heard Ms. Boulware of Impact Uniforms make several comments in reference to bid number 2016-017 that I would like to address on behalf of Red the Uniform Tailor and to present information to you about our company. Red the Uniform Tailor has been in business for 39 years, both as a manufacturer and a distributor of quality uniform apparel. The company is family-owned and operated as well, and I am the Texas Regional Manager who oversees all locations within Texas. Our company has won several national awards for our design and manufacturing. Red the Uniform Tailor is a WBE company. However, since we are a corporation nationwide, our designation is in New Jersey, where our corporate headquarters are located. We have 9 stores nationwide, with 3 of them being in Texas. Our Grand Prairie location is in Tarrant County, who currently services the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. We currently employ over 25 employees at this one location. They all reside in Tarrant County, and their children also attend Tarrant County schools. We currently hold approximately $760,000 worth of Blauer inventory at our Grand Prairie location alone. Of that, approximately 1/3 is strictly designated for Tarrant County Sheriff's Department personnel. We have 2 designated full-time employees to handle the account for Tarrant County Sheriff's Office, along with a vehicle, which is a van, that was purchased to make all the deliveries to each of the locations. We also have the required database that we have maintained for many years to maintain the officer's allowance each year. Our company holds accounts for several like-size agencies to Tarrant County Sheriff's Office across the country and within the DFW area, such as the Fort Worth Police Department, the Fort Worth Fire Department, Grand Prairie Police Department, Grand Prairie Fire Department, Garland Police Department, Plano Police Department, and these are just to name a few. Last week, Ms. Boulware of Impact Uniforms stated that her company had been in business for 17 years. It is our understanding that the long-term business of her company has been in the packaging industry, and only in the recent years have they evolved into uniform distribution. Ms. Boulware also named off several agencies that are approved to wear the Flying Cross uniform. However, her company is not the distributor for any of those agencies. She also stated that her bid tabulation was a savings of over $30,000 over the term of the 5-year contract. I would like it to be noted to the Court that Red the Uniform Tailor bid the Blauer spec as outlined by the purchasing department. Had our company bid a lesser quality product as Ms. Boulware, our figures would have been lower as well. Comparing our prices that followed the published specification of product to that of a lesser quality product is simply not fair. Thank you for your time, and I'll be available if there's any questions.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments, Jack?
I move we approve contract as presented by the purchasing department.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
Just thank you for the additional information.
Yes, good job. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Fickus, I believe you have an interlocal agreement.
I do. City of Keller. Move approval of ADM LABC.
I believe that's 1AB.
I'm sorry, yes, 1A, B, and C.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Are there any appointments? Being none, then you have before you our claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. There is no discussion. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have one item to bring to you today. This is the monthly update by the hospital district. Mr. Early is here to address the court at this time.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are y'all? Good. Give you a little bit of your time back because my briefing is indeed brief. I wanted to tell you that you all know, because we've given you an update on our efforts to create a physician group that would have a metrics and a performance standard that we could accept, that our physicians could accept. We've been dealing with that for the better part of the last year and a half to 2 years. We've included our doctors in the process, and I'm proud to tell you, as of last night, we've had 81 of the JPFEG doctors sign contracts for the new acclaim. That's a very strong positive in a forward movement. We still have some paper to work out and some details to work out with some of the others, particularly with UNT Health Science Center. But that's a nice positive statement on our move forward, and I appreciate all y'all's help and appreciate the efforts that you all have in conducting communications between those groups, and I think it's been fruitful, and I think that has been very advantageous. So
Robert,
even though
that's 81 out of a total of what?
Well, you've got about 125 of the UNT docs, but 81 out of about 90 or so of the JPSPG physicians. So that's about 90% of them.
Very good.
So I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the team, and proud of the efforts that they've done. And now we'll move ahead. As you well know, Dr. Weber chairs the committee to look at performance standards and outcomes, and I think that's very, very helpful. We have also allowed those doctors to stay whole for a period of time during this transition so that nobody would feel that they potentially could be adversely affected, which we certainly would not want to have. So I think we've seen really nice forward movement. The other thing, I want to thank the court for your efforts that you took last week, and I want to personally thank Mr. Manius for the efforts to look at where we head towards the future in healthcare for Tarrant County. There are some givens that we know. Our population increases, as outlined by Mr. Manius, and I just want to thank you as court members to work with JPS as we work with y'all, as we notice and try to figure out what our future holds for healthcare, particularly in light of two significant groups of individuals, those who are patients at JPS and those that are patients and taxpayers. I think those are important, that we justify to those people that we're spending their tax dollars wisely and efficiently, and we're looking at the needs of our patients that we have today and the needs of our patients that we will have tomorrow and in the future. So I want to thank you all. And Mr. Manius, I want to thank you for the amount of presentations you made and the efforts that you made in communicating with our foundation, individual board members, the court, and the briefings that we had. I think were well done, and I appreciate it. My last comment is to thank you all again for the ability to do live streaming. We had our first meeting live streamed, and I think it went quite well. I think the board did very well. I think the community has a new insight into JPS, should they choose to want that. And I hope they'll want that, because they'll learn a lot more about JPS, what we do and how we do things. So I'm happy for that. You all, and your ability to allow us to use the room in the back, save tax dollars money, bless you, allowed us to save tax dollar money to do that. And I think those are all very, very important. Again, for the taxpayers, for openness, and what we're trying to do to communicate to Tarrant County what JPS does. So thank you all very much.
Yes, Robert, I want to acknowledge my appreciation for your leadership, and please send my appreciation to the board as well.
I will.
For taking steps in improving transparency, which will enhance the public trust in what we do at the hospital.
Thank you.
So for that, I thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I recognize that the facility that you use here is far less than ideal for the purposes of having a Board of Managers meeting. What are the plans to make sure that this is a short-term situation?
Well, I think there's a couple things. We do always want to look at our building over there and figure out what we do and try to figure out how to make those accommodations. We're continuing to do that. The great luxury to being able to move right here and have those meetings is we could instantaneously go live stream.
Right. It
So
gives you time
it
to
does.
prepare a plan.
It gives us time to prepare a plan. It gives us time to make accommodations for the next budget and try to figure out where we are. We've already reviewed not only y'all's system, but systems of a lot of the cities and what they have. We have a good idea of what's out there and what we can do. So I think those are all helpful. I don't have a timeline per se to say this is what it would be, but of course the budget, we're looking at October for our new budget, and we'll look at that. So try to figure out the best way to do it. It's not opportune from the standpoint of some of the challenges with it, but it is opportune from the standpoint that we do get to go live. It is helpful and it is great, and at this point it's not a cost factor. So it's been very helpful to us, and again, thank you all very much for allowing us to do that. We do spend our time here on Thursdays, and I'm sure to the folks that have offices out here, they're wondering why the stream of people coming by, but they're quite nice. Y'all have nice folks that are helping us out. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all are gonna start selling lemonade as they go by, you know, just put up a little lemonade stand and do something along that type of lines.
We'll make sure that we have our food drive on Thursday.
Well, I think that's a good idea, you know, United Way toiletry drives. You know,
Bring your popcorn machine.
Yeah.
We'll be speeding up our process to find our new venue.
I guess you could bring your parents down and they could sell popcorn.
They could sell
off the
popcorn
elevator
here, yeah.
on the
They could
floor,
do the
so,
same thing here too. That'd be the
You
traveling.
already got the hospital. You got the popcorn concession? Okay.
I really appreciate the help that y'all provide me at all times. It means a lot to me. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes, sir. Did you have a question of Robert?
No, I'm good. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Your Honor, that's all we have at this time.
And at this time, we'll recess our open meeting, proceed to close to discuss. This gavel and start. Bring them back in here and I'll run. Having returned from our closed session, we'll now address the following matters.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, if we can go to the Administrator Section, Item A1. This concerns fees associated with expunctions.
I'd like to preface the motion by saying that the issue of expungement is important in our community. It serves a legitimate public purpose and serves a public interest for us to encourage those who are eligible for expunctions to take advantage of that process. Accordingly, I would make the following motion. Article 102.006 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure provides for fees to be charged in expunction proceedings. These fees include the fee charged for filing an ex parte petition in a civil action in district court, $1 plus postage for each certified mailing of notice of the hearing date, and $2 plus postage for each certified mailing of certified copies of an expunction, of an order of expunction. Additionally, the fees include any other fees required by other law. Some of these other fees required by other laws are set by the Commissioner's Court, whereas other fee amounts are mandated by the statute. With respect to those fees that may be adopted or set by the Commissioner's Court, I move that the Tarrant County Commissioner's Court amend but not waive the current fee schedule by establishing the following separate fee schedule applying exclusively to all expunction proceedings. And these are each bullet points. Bullet, law library fee required to be collected by section 323.023 of the Texas Local Government Code, not to exceed $35. The fee shall be $1. Bullet, court record preservation fee required to be collected by section 51.708 of the Texas Government Code, an amount not more than $10. The fee shall be $1. Bullet, alternative dispute resolution fee that may be collected in accordance with section 152.004A of the Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code, not to exceed $15, no fee. Courthouse security fee that may be collected in accordance with section 291.008 of the Texas Local Government Code, not to exceed $5, no fee. Bullet, district court records technology fund fee that may be collected in accordance with section 51.305 of the Texas Government Code, not to exceed $10, no fee. The fee amounts previously established for these fee categories shall remain the same for all other civil suits and actions. And that's the motion.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
That's all we have at this time, Your Honor.
Then we are adjourned.